All right, so the last unit we talked a lot about line segments or straight lines. So this unit we're going to talk about what about types of lines that are bent and create what we know as an angle. So we're going to look at angles this unit. You can also create an angle when you put two kind of segments together. So we could draw a ray and join it up against the other ray by their bums. And again, kind of create an angle. So whichever way you kind of think of it as bent lines or two butt ends coming together of a ray, this is what we call an angle. So to kind of discuss their parts specifically so you know what I'm talking about, where they bend or where they go together, right? These are the kind of the two different types I showed you. So right here, these red dots, these are known as the vertex. So you're going to hear me use this word often. That's what I'm talking about, where they bend, where they come together. And again, what are they made of? Two sides, in which is a ray, and there are all sorts of points along these rays. So again, they're sides which create a vertex. All right, so ways to label an angle. All right, so if you just see one angle and you happen to see a number inside of the angle, kind of in the mouth of it, that's definitely the easiest way that you can do it. When you're referring to this picture, you could say, hey, look at angle 1, and you feel pretty confident everyone's looking at exactly the same place. You can also use the vertex to label angles. So in this picture, remember the vertex is where our angles come up together, or our lines, sides. So we could say this is angle S. And the last one is it takes a little bit more, and sometimes you have to use it more when you have multiple angles together, but you can also use points along the sides and the vertex. So you want to kind of put them in the order that you would draw, let's say the angle. So RST. I was going to trace that angle. My hunch is I want to start at the top, go to the left, and bring it on down. Now you also might think, or you might be inclined to start at the bottom and trace up. Either way is fine as long as you're following the route to drawing or tracing angles. So TSR. So the vertex is always in the middle. So we did a couple in class just to practice. The three ways that you could use to identify this angle would be angle 2. And again, make sure you're putting that little image in front there. We could say DEF. And we could also use the vertex alone and just say angle E. Now, only because this is a single angle. All right, so there can also be multiple angles together that share a common vertex. So you have to be really careful when you're looking at the diagram and when you're naming angles that you're very precise in your labeling. So all of these in the diagram there, all of those angles, they're talking about, or they're sharing the vertex of W. So if you're looking at specifically this angle right here, again, the best way to label angles and the shortest way to label angles is by a number. So this one actually is angle 3. Right, if I was asking you to kind of switch and look at this green highlighted angle, again, if I'm looking right here and I want to name it or I'm telling you about this angle, quickest way to do it is say, hey, angle 4, because it's got a number in there. Oh, so angle 4. Now, if I was asking you to, or referring to this entire angle, notice me tracing on the outside there, you would have to label that using 3 different letters. Because A, there's no just one number inside. That would be too easy. But also, we can't just say vertex W because there's multiple angles crossing or coming together there. So this would be an example of where we have to use all 3 letters. And I tend to go from top to bottom, so XWZ. So again, if you're a person that goes this direction, by all means, label it in that order. All right, so some practice problems. I'm going to go ahead and I would say pause it if you want to try these. I'm going to also give you the answers while highlighting the different angles that you can review, practice, use for your liking, but hopefully it helps you become a little more confident with labeling. All right, so looking at this first one right here, if I was referring to this angle right in here, again, if you see a number, easiest way to number or label it. So I'd say that, hey, that's angle 1. if I would be looking to label this smaller angle? And I tend to do the parts first, the smaller angles. So this would be, hey, I'm looking at angle 2. And if I was referring to the entire wider big angle, you would just, again, kind of pretend yourself tracing it. And this one, you'd have to use all 3 letters because, again, there's no number. And we can't just say vertex A. So we could say angle M, A, O. Vertex, again, is always in the middle. Looking at the second example here. Here's an angle. Ask yourself, what's the easiest way to label? By the 3. And if I'm looking at the other little angle in here, angle 4. And if you see a number, guys, easiest way to do it. And then last but not least, if I'm talking about this entire angle right here, you just label it the way you see it. BAD. Angle bad. Goes along with my bad writing. All right, the last one has one more little small angle. We've got 4 rays, 4 lines all coming together at 1 point. So there's 4 different angles there. And if I was going to label them individually, hopefully now that we've done the other 2 examples, you can kind of see, hey, we've got angle 3, we've got angle 4, and we've got angle 5. Again, my coloring here is a little off here, but I think you get the point that we have 3 interior angles, right? Angles on the inside of 1 big one. Which again, if that big one encompasses all the smaller ones, I can't just use a number. I can't just use the vertex, so I have to label it as I see it. And I've got way too in the coloring there, but it's R-A or R-A-U. And again, I just traced it from top down to the bottom there. You could have done it the other way and just labeled it like that. All right, so an angle also kind of separates and has 3 parts. So if this is my angle, okay, that's considered on the angle itself. Any points on the angle themselves? Well, we got point X, we've got point Y, and we've got point Z. That is my actual angle, X, Y, Z. Now, we also have points that are on the inside of the angle and the outside of the angle. So the inside of the angle is right here. It's kind of in the mouth of the angle. Those are your inside, the interior of the angle. So just if you were asked to label any kind of points or identify, again, you're more so looking at, can you draw someone into your picture or diagram, or can you find the right part of the picture given geometry notation? So point W, point A, and point N are in the middle. Now be careful, Z looks like the letter itself is in the middle, but it's actually referring to the point which is on the line, or on the angle, I'm sorry. And then last but not least, the exterior part of the angle. Any points that are exterior, just kind of on the outside. Hanging out on the outside. It's kind of like, I think it looks like a little bit of a greenhouse, and the yellow yard should actually be opposite. But in any case, those are the exterior points on an angle. So it would be point B, or sorry, point P. We got B and O. Now again, be careful, Y and A are not. The letters may be in the yellow area, but the point themselves are right on the angle. So there's just kind of to further it, there are points that are going to be on the inside of the angle, angles on the inside of an angle, kind of like I referred to this one right here. We have angle 3, 4, and 5 on the interior side of angle RAU. So these terms are really important. They help kind of connect and draw you to parts of diagrams, and you know, likewise, the way that you write it points someone else, or you know, provides an answer in a certain way. So you want to make sure you know how to do this. It's the basics of the entire unit. All right, so there is an assignment that is all about this. So go ahead, I think there's 12 problems. Either submit your paper copy or take a picture of your answers written out. All right, if you need any help, let me know.